Thunder rolled across the forest. The hunter sat beside the fire, trying to warm himself. Lucian stood near the window, staring into the darkness. "The king sent you?" he asked. The hunter nodded. "My name is Derak. I served in the royal army. And why betray your king?" Derak swallowed. "Because I saw what he did." Silence filled the room. The villages near the capital are starving. Anyone who questions him disappears. Lucian's claws slowly dug into the stone floor. "The people suffer while he sits on my father's throne." Derak nodded. "He fears only one thing." Lucian turned. "What?" The hunter looked directly into his golden eyes. "The return of Prince Lucian Blackwood." The next morning, Derak spread a map across the dining table. "The king's soldiers are moving this way." Evelyn frowned. "To attack the castle?" "No." He pointed toward a small spot on the map. Raven Hollow. Evelyn's face turned pale. The king learned that the sacrifice survived. "Why does that matter?" she asked. "Because if the village discovers the truth, the old pact dies with it." Lucian's expression darkened. "The king wants to erase every witness." Evelyn took a step backward. "No. He plans to burn Raven Hollow." Her heart nearly stopped. Thomas, the children, everyone she loved. Without another word, she ran toward the door. "Evelyn!" Lucian called. She turned, tears in her eyes. "I have to go home." Lucian followed her into the courtyard. "You cannot go alone. I have no choice." "The king's soldiers will kill you. They'll kill my family if I do nothing." Silence. Snow drifted around them. Then Lucian spoke softly. "I can't lose you." Evelyn froze. The words had escaped before he could stop them. For a long moment, neither of them moved. The beast lowered his head. "I spent 15 years alone." His voice trembled. "You brought life back to this place." He looked at her. "And now, I don't know how to let you go." Tears filled Evelyn's eyes. For the first time, she realized something terrifying, leaving him hurt, far more than it should. She stepped closer. "Then come with me." Lucian looked surprised. "To the village?" She nodded. "Help me save them." For several seconds, he said nothing. Then, "I'll protect you." By sunset, they reached the edge of the village. Smoke rose into the sky. Evelyn's heart dropped. "No." They ran forward. The king's soldiers had already arrived. Homes burned. Villagers screamed. Children cried. Soldiers dragged people into the square. A commander shouted, "Search every house. Leave no survivors." Evelyn ran toward her cottage. "Thomas!" A soldier grabbed her. Before he could touch her, roar! The beast exploded from the shadows. The ground shook beneath his paws. The soldier was thrown backward. Everyone screamed. Villagers stared in horror. The beast of Blackthorn had come. Panic spread everywhere. "The beast! It's here! We're all doomed!" But Lucian ignored them. A burning beam suddenly collapsed from a house. 2 children were trapped beneath it. Without hesitation, the beast rushed forward. He lifted the heavy timber with his claws. "Run!" he ordered. The children escaped. Moments later, another home caught fire. An old woman was still inside. Lucian crashed through the door and carried her to safety. One by one, he rescued people. Again, and again, and again. The villagers watched in disbelief. This wasn't a monster. This was their protector. Elder Cedric slowly lowered his head. Tears filled his eyes. "What have we done?" he whispered. Evelyn found the old man standing beside the chapel. "Tell me the truth." He looked broken. "The king promised our village protection. What did you do?" The elder closed his eyes. "He ordered me to continue the sacrifices." Evelyn's face turned pale. "You knew the beast wasn't evil." A tear rolled down the old man's cheek. "Yes, Then why? I was afraid. He looked toward the burning village. He said, if I refused, Raven Hollow would be destroyed. Evelyn could barely speak. For 15 years, innocent girls were sent into that forest. The elder nodded. I carry their blood on my hands. His voice cracked. And now my cowardice has doomed us all. Suddenly, dozens of soldiers surrounded the square. Their commander stepped forward. He pointed his sword at the beast. There he is, Lucian growled. The commander smiled. Prince Lucian Blackwood. The villagers gasped. Prince? The beast was a prince? Evelyn stepped in front of him. You know who he is? Oh, we know exactly who he is. The commander laughed. Our king has waited 15 years to kill the last Blackwood. He raised his sword. Capture the beast. Soldiers charged. Lucian fought fiercely, but there were too many. Arrows flew through the air, chains made of silver wrapped around him. He roared in pain. Silver burned his skin. Lucian, Evelyn screamed. He struggled desperately. Another chain tightened, then another. The soldiers dragged him to his knees. For the first time, the villagers saw fear in the beast's eyes. Not fear for himself, fear for her. Dark shadows suddenly spread across Lucian's fur. His golden eyes flickered. The curse was reacting. The silver chains burned brighter. The commander smiled. Excellent. Evelyn looked horrified. What are you doing? The witch said, if the beast is bound by silver, under a blood moon, the curse will consume him forever. No! Lucian cried out in agony. Dark energy swirled around him. His body trembled violently. Evelyn ran toward him, but soldiers held her back. Let me go. Lucian looked at her. Even in his pain, he tried to smile. Then he whispered, Don't come after me. Tears streamed down her face. The soldiers dragged him away, into the darkness, into the forest, and as the blood-red moon rose above Raven Hollow, Evelyn realized something. She was no longer trying to save a monster. She was trying to save the man she loved. The fires of Raven Hollow had finally been extinguished. Smoke still rose into the night sky, but Evelyn could not stand still. Lucian was gone, taken by the king's soldiers. Every second felt like an eternity. Thomas grabbed her hand. Sister, where are you going? She knelt before him. To bring someone home. The beast. She smiled softly. No. A tear rolled down her cheek. To bring back the man who saved us. Thomas hugged her tightly. Then come back too. She kissed his forehead. I promise. Before leaving, Elder Cedric approached her. In his hands was an old iron key. I should have given this to you years ago. What is it? The first chapel of Raven Hollow. I thought it was destroyed. It isn't. He looked ashamed. I hid the truth there. Evelyn took the key. Why tell me now? The old man lowered his head. Because I spent 15 years serving fear. He looked into her eyes. And you taught me what courage looks like. Deep in the forest stood the ruins of an ancient chapel. Vines covered its stone walls. Moonlight poured through the broken roof. Evelyn unlocked the door. Inside stood a single altar, and upon it, an old book. She carefully opened it. The pages were filled with royal seals and ancient writings. Then she found the final entry. Her breath caught. The curse of Prince Lucian Blackwood cannot be broken by battle, power, or sacrifice. She turned the page. The beast must be chosen freely. Another page. A willing bride who knows his true form must accept him, not as a prince, but as the beast himself. Her hands trembled. Another sentence was written beneath. Only then shall love undo what hatred created. Tears filled her eyes. This entire time there had been a way to save him. Before sunrise, Evelyn and Derek set out for the capital. The journey lasted 2 days. As they approached the city, dark clouds gathered overhead. The royal banners hung from the towers. Soldiers filled the streets. The kingdom looked rich, yet its people looked miserable, hungry, afraid, broken. "This is what the false king built," Derek said. "A kingdom of fear." Evelyn looked toward the palace. Somewhere inside, Lucien was waiting. Deep beneath the palace, Prince Lucien sat inside a silver cage. Chains wrapped around his wrists. The curse had worsened. Dark shadows spread across his fur. Every breath looked painful. Footsteps echoed. The prison door opened. Evelyn appeared. For a moment, he thought he was dreaming. "You came." She smiled through her tears. "Of course I did." He slowly stood. "You shouldn't be here. I found a way to save you." His expression changed. "No, you don't even know what I'm going to say." "I know enough." He looked away. "The curse is my burden. It doesn't have to be." Silence. Then she whispered, "I know how to break it." His golden eyes widened. She told him everything. The book, the prophecy, the willing bride, the marriage. When she finished, the dungeon became completely silent. Then Lucien shook his head. "No." She blinked. "No, I won't allow it." "Why?" "Because I know what I am." He looked at his claws. "Even if the curse breaks, I have lived as a monster for 15 years. You are not a monster. I've killed. In battle. I've scared people because they feared what they didn't understand." He looked into her eyes. "You deserve a normal life." A small smile appeared on her face. "Lucien, I stopped wanting a normal life the moment I met you." He couldn't speak. She stepped closer. "You gave me hope when I thought I was going to die." Another step. "You protected me." Another. "You made me laugh." Tears filled her eyes, and somewhere along the way, her voice broke. "I fell in love with you." The dungeon fell silent. Lucien stared at her, unable to move, unable to breathe. Then she said the words he never expected to hear. "I didn't come to save a prince." A tear rolled down her cheek. "I came because I love the beast." That night, Derek secretly freed Lucien from his chains. Together, they escaped the palace and rode to the ruined chapel in Blackthorn Forest. Rain began to fall. The old chapel stood beneath the moon. No guests, no music, only 2 people and a promise. Elder Cedric had followed them. In his shaking hands was the ancient marriage book. "Are you certain?" he asked. Evelyn smiled. "I've never been more certain." Lucien looked at her. "Even now, you still choose me?" She took his hand. Every time, the old man opened the book. "Do you, Evelyn Ashford, take this man and this beast as your husband?" She looked directly into Lucien's eyes. "I do." The old man turned to him. "Do you, Lucien Blackwood, accept this woman as your wife?" His voice trembled. "With all that I am, I do." Evelyn gently placed a ring upon his hand. At that exact moment, the chapel shook. Golden light exploded around them. Wind roared through the forest. The curse screamed. Dark shadows burst from Lucien's body. The chains of magic shattered one by one. He cried out. Then everything became silent. The light slowly faded. Evelyn opened her eyes. Before her stood a man. No fur, no claws, no curse. Only Prince Lucien Blackwood. Dark hair, golden eyes, and tears on his face. He was human, at last. For a few precious seconds, neither moved. Then Lucien slowly touched his face, his hands, his heartbeat. He was free. Evelyn smiled. "You came back." He looked at her as though seeing the sun for the first time. Then he pulled her into his arms. They held each other tightly. But suddenly, Horns echoed through the forest. Dozens of torches appeared among the trees. Soldiers surrounded the chapel. A voice rang out. "How touching!" The false king stepped forward, cloaked in black, a cruel smile on his face. His eyes widened as he saw Lucien. "Impossible!" Lucien stepped in front of Evelyn. The king slowly drew his sword. "No matter." His smile returned. "I should have killed you 15 years ago." Thunder rolled across the sky. The soldiers raised their weapons. The final battle had come. Rain poured over the ruined chapel. Torches flickered in the darkness. Dozens of soldiers surrounded the ancient stones. At their center stood the false king, King Aldrich, the man who had stolen a kingdom 15 years ago. He stared at Lucien in disbelief. "You should be a beast." Lucien stepped forward. "And you should have been a loyal brother." The king's face darkened. "You dare speak to me of loyalty? You murdered my parents. I saved this kingdom." Lucien's eyes hardened. "No, you stole it." The king raised his sword. "Then I shall take it again." He pointed at Lucien. "Kill him." The soldiers charged. Steel flashed in the rain. Lucien grabbed a fallen sword. For the first time in 15 years, he fought as a man. Clang. He blocked the first attack, then another, but there were too many. Suddenly, a long howl echoed through the forest. Everyone froze. More howls answered. Then shadows emerged from the trees. Enormous wolves, foxes, stags. Even black ravens circled above. The creatures of Blackthorn Forest had come. The soldiers stepped back in terror. One giant silver wolf stood at the front. Lucien recognized him immediately. Fenrir, the old guardian of the forest. The wolf lowered his head toward the prince, as if acknowledging its king. Then the animals charged. Chaos erupted. Another sound echoed through the rain. Footsteps, dozens of them. Evelyn turned. Lanterns appeared among the trees. The people of Raven Hollow had come. Thomas stood at the front beside Derac. Elder Cedric carried a hunting spear. The villagers stopped beside Lucien. For a moment, no one spoke. Then Thomas stepped forward. "You saved us." The little boy looked directly at the prince. "So now, we save you." One by one, the villagers raised their tools and weapons. Lucien's eyes filled with emotion. For 15 years, people had feared him. Tonight, they stood beside him. King Aldrich looked around in horror. "No," he pointed toward the villagers. "He is a monster." No one moved. The old healer stepped forward. "He carried my granddaughter from a burning house." A farmer spoke next. "He saved my son." Another villager raised his voice. "He protected us when your soldiers attacked." Silence followed. Then Elder Cedric walked toward the king. For the first time in years, his voice was strong. "The only monster here is you." The king's face twisted with rage. "You fools!" He raised his sword and charged at Lucien. Steel clashed. The two men fought beneath the storm. The uncle and the nephew, the thief and the rightful king. Aldrich attacked with fury. Lucien fought with calm determination. Finally, their swords locked. The king sneered. "I took everything from you." Lucien looked into his eyes. "You took my crown." Lightning flashed. "You took my family." Rain poured around them. "But you never took my heart." With one powerful strike, clang, the king's sword shattered. Aldrich fell to his knees. Silence filled the forest. The false king looked up. Fear finally entered his eyes. Lucien lowered his sword. "I won't become like you." He dropped the blade. "You will answer for your crimes." The soldiers slowly lowered their weapons. The war was over. Several weeks later, spring arrived. For the first time in years, flowers bloomed across Blackthorn Forest. The kingdom gathered in the great courtyard of the castle. Banners of House Blackwood flew once more. Evelyn stood beside Thomas and the villagers. Trumpets sounded. The great doors opened. Lucian walked forward, wearing royal black and silver. He no longer looked like a cursed beast. He looked like a king. The royal advisor placed the ancient crown upon his head. "All hail King Lucian Blackwood!" The crowd erupted. For a moment, Lucian looked toward Evelyn. Their eyes met, and he smiled. After the ceremony, Lucian stepped onto the balcony. The entire kingdom waited. "My first decree as king." The crowd fell silent. He looked toward the people of Raven Hollow. "The village that suffered because of my family's tragedy shall never suffer again." He raised his hand. "Raven Hollow will never pay royal taxes." The villagers gasped. "The kingdom will rebuild every home destroyed during the war." Tears filled many eyes, "And no child in this kingdom will go hungry while I wear this crown." Cheers echoed across the courtyard. Then he looked at Thomas. "And the healers of the capital will care for every sick child." Thomas grinned from ear to ear. Evelyn wiped away a tear. Several months later, the castle gardens were covered in blooming blackthorn flowers. Birds sang. The fountains flowed once more. Evelyn walked through the garden, carrying a basket of herbs. She stopped when she saw someone waiting beside the old tree. King Lucian. Though he wore a crown, he smiled like the man she had met in the snow. He walked toward her. "I've been looking everywhere for you." She laughed softly. "A king shouldn't wander off alone." "Then perhaps I came looking for my queen." She smiled. "I don't think I've gotten used to hearing that." "Neither have I." For a moment, they simply stood together. Then Lucian asked quietly, "If you had known the truth from the beginning," she looked at him, "if you had known I was the beast, would you still have come into the forest?" Evelyn stepped closer. She gently touched his cheek. Then she smiled. "I didn't marry the prince, Lucian." He held his breath. "I married the beast." Tears filled his golden eyes. He pulled her into his arms. Beneath the blooming blackthorn trees, they kissed. And somewhere deep within the forest, a wolf howled. Not in sorrow, but in joy. The story of the Beast of Blackthorn became a legend. People would one day tell their children, "A brave woman once walked into a dark forest to save her village. She expected to meet a monster. Instead, she found a king." The end.